living that game film life. We talking about game film life. We living that game film life. We talking about game film life. What up, though? Welcome to episode 3 of Game Film Life. I'm your host, Corey, and we gonna talk today about, you know what, before I tell you what we're gonna talk today about, let me do this thing where I thank you guys for joining me on this journey and sticking with me to episode 3. If you made it to episode 3, you made it through a couple rough episodes, but I'm telling you, I'm gonna get better. It's gonna get a little bit more light and funny. Like I said, I'm going to start inviting some friends to this thing, but I just wanted to get started and started recording some stuff so I can give it to you guys right now, and just bear with me, because I think this got some legs where we can keep moving and growing with this thing. But all right, I'm gonna stop doing it every episode, maybe. I don't know, but I appreciate y'all coming back to Game Film Life. Yeah. Again, I'm your host, Corey, man, and today we're gonna talk about a little bit of a topic that is actually going to be a through line topic, I know, in a lot of these episodes, because I see it all the time, man. This is one of those running themes. Politics is too much like sports fandom. What I mean by that, man, politics, man, we pick our sides, as a society, we pick our sides, then we ride with our team. We ride with our team no matter what the outcome. And we do that in sports, man. I done had some real sports debates, at the office, you know what I'm saying? Where we're raising our voice at each other because, some things are just obvious. This player is better than that player. I ain't gonna get into it right now, but the Jordan, LeBron debate, those type of things, you know what I'm saying? We get into it, but at the end of the day, man, those sports debates, no matter how heated they get and how loud we talk and just try to overtalk each other and you don't know nothing about sports and all of that, at the end of the day, we arguing over sport and about games. You know what I'm saying? The biggest consequences in sports is somebody missing out on money, which I'm not trying to minimize, but it ain't politics, where politics actually affect our lives and our potential well-being. It's just, but we treat it just like it's our sports allegiance. We really do, man, for my team. Real quick, man, I've been, since I was 18 and able to legally vote, I remember going to the poll the first time, and when I was voting for president, it's not the only thing that's on the ballot. It's not president, and then it's some of these other things. I don't even remember what it was, but stuff like comptroller and district stuff and things of that nature. I'm like, I don't know these people, and my instinct was just to go with who my team was. And I didn't even really know who my team was, because I didn't even really think about politics up to that time. If I'm being completely honest with you guys, I didn't even really think about politics at that time. But growing up as a black male in Detroit, the thing that I knew more about was Democrats. So that's who I ride with. The adults in my life like them. That's who I see. That's who they say is for my people. So what I started doing is, when I'm looking at the rest of this ballot and it's 2 names, and I don't know either one of these names, ain't heard what they stand for. I don't even know what they trying to do. I don't know if it reflects what I think is the best thing to go for, the country, my state, my city. But I'm like, oh, they're a Democrat. They got a Democrat by their name. Vote for them. That's crazy is what I'm trying to tell you. That's crazy that I did that. So I'm telling you, while I'm pointing my finger at y'all, I've participated in it too. As I've grown, I don't make those same mistakes anymore, but it's just getting to a point where it's crazy to me what we do, right? But we ride with our team no matter what. For example, something that just recently happened in the NFL playoffs this season was a lot of debate over the end of this Bills game, where was it a catch? Wasn't it a catch? If you saw the play, who was it? Josh Allen threw the pass to, what's his face? I can't think of his name right now. I got to plug that in right here. But when he caught the ball, it's a new rule. It's the Calvin Johnson rule, by the way, which that obviously was a catch against the Cowboys, but then they said it wasn't a catch. And now you got to complete the catch through the ground. You gotta maintain the catch all the way through the ground. So basically, if you catch the ball and we all see that you just caught the ball, you hit the ground, but then it jostles out. That's not a catch anymore. You gotta complete the catch through the ground. So in this play that we're talking about, he has the catch. He lands on the ground, and almost simultaneously as he lands on the ground, the defender yanks the ball out of his hand. So as he hits the ground, if the defender wasn't there, by the rule of the NFL, by the NFL rule book, if the defender wasn't there and he hit the ground and the ball jostled out, it would have been an incompleted pass. But while he hits the ground, the ball maybe jostles out, but it's a defender with his hand on the ball and just takes it, and they rule it an interception. So if the defender wasn't there, it wouldn't have been a catch, but it never hit the ground. And the defender ended up with the ball. By the rule, it's an interception. That's just an interception. But then there was so much debate on if this was really a catch or it's an interception. And what you find is, if you thought it was an interception or you thought it was a catch, it really based on what team you were aligned to. Everybody that wanted the Bills to win was like, oh, obviously it's a catch. It don't matter what the rules say. We saw it with our own eyes. That's obviously a catch. That's obviously a catch. And then on the other side, they're like, no, that's obviously an interception. My man came up with the ball. He has it in his hand. If he wasn't there, that would have been an incomplete pass. That's obviously an interception. So my point is that, this was big stakes for NFL playoff. It's like legacy game for Josh Allen and all of that type of stuff. And depending on your line, depending on who you're rooting for, and maybe some of the neutral people think that they're unbiased, but even the neutral people, I didn't even really have a dog in the fight, but the neutral people, I kind of wanted Josh Allen to win. So I was like, man, that kind of should be a catch. Even though my logical brain is telling me that, nah, by the letter of the law, that's an interception. But I was like, nah, in this case, it should just be a catch, though, because he actually caught the ball first. The tie goes to the receiver. He had the ball before him, and he just snatched it out of his hand. The play was over. That's a catch. So, again, depending on your allegiance, it colors what you think you just saw, right? You know what I'm saying? Or in my case, I truly, if I'm being honest with myself, know that it was an interception that I just saw, but I actually wanted the Bills to win that game. More specifically, I wanted Josh Allen to win that game. So I'm like, yeah, no, that should have been a catch. And my point is, before I get to my point, let me give you one more example here. Let me give you one more example of actually where I am right. and what was it? It was last year's playoff, Pistons, Knicks, Game 4. At the end of the game, Tim Hardaway Jr. shooting a three in the corner, and he clearly gets fouled. It's clearly he got fouled. You hear how much conviction I have on this? He clearly got fouled. Got mauled. Should have been thrown out of the game. No, I'm just playing with you, but it was clearly a foul to me. But all of my homies at work that's Knicks fan, all of these Knicks fans was like, you can't call that in that spot. Let the players determine the game. Y'all should have did this. Y'all should have did that. But it was clearly a foul. But at the end of the game, what you just saw with your eyes is not a foul to you because you're a Knicks fan, and now we should get it. If it was Jalen Brunson shooting that three from the corner and Tim Hardaway fouled him, you definitely would have been like, oh, you got to call that foul. You got to give him the call and this. So depending on who your allegiance is to, colors how you see something with your own eyes, right? Here's why this gets scary to me. Because politics, we are doing the same thing. And it's always been that way. I just gave you a story about how when I was 18, I was blindly voting for Democrats. Yeah, I was doing that, right? But it's even more scary to these days because, I mean, if you've been living in the world in these last several years, we're more divided than ever. You know what I'm saying? No matter what side you lie on, you're riding or dying for that side. And it's scary for me because we're losing nuance. We're losing, logic in a lot of cases. We're not looking at the facts and taking the facts for what they are. Okay, so right here, I went on a lengthy diatribe that I decided to cut in post, mainly because the example that I used to parallel the real life version happening within politics is dated at this point. That's the funny thing. These hot button topics that keep us divided and draws on the tribalism that I was just describing in sports are happening so often that my example of a couple months ago feels like old news at this point. For me, it's not necessary to revisit the topic in the level of detail that I did, where I rambled for about 10 minutes straight. The gist was that depending on your allegiance to your political leaning, we can all watch the same video that ends in tragedy and come away with a different skew on what we just witnessed. And that juxtaposition of rationalizing your sports team winning or losing a game versus rationalizing your rationalizing your political team's guilt or innocence in a tragic event is still jarring to me. It's scary times that we're living in right now. Scary times, I tell you. But with that said, I cut the video and I'm going to now take you back to your regularly scheduled program. Thank you for bearing with me. It's literally life or death, and we still are acting as if like, yeah, I'm going to stay loyal to my team no matter what they do. It's crazy to me, right? That's just crazy. So, that's what I just wanted to talk about. This is you see the definitely the life tie-in to this one pretty clearly here. But man, life imitating, sports imitating life. It's all too real, man. Like it's all too real, man. Yeah, man, but that's it today, man. But before I go, I do want to make it a little lighter before I go here, man. I'm gonna have a recurring segment too that's called, Jack and IP. Jack and IP. But sometimes, man, I'm just gonna straight up, I'm gonna tell you, man, and I give y'all credit and all of that type of stuff in the videos and everything. But I'm just gonna take people's IP and just do it on myself. So this first one I'm gonna take, no specific credit given to anybody because everybody do this, man. But I'm just gonna do a quick top 5 list, man. Everybody do lists, and I'm about to do I'm about to do one of my top 5 lists real quick. So that's what I'm doing right now. But so I just recently watched the series His and Hers that everybody been talking about. Spoiler alert, I'm not about to give anything up, but even what I'm about to say could potentially spoil it for you. So if you don't want to hear this, fast forward about 30 seconds. But the twist at the end of that really got a lot of people, including me, right? So what I'm going to do here is do my top 5 movies that had film noir at the end. Shout out to Cinephobe, film noir, or top 5 twists that you didn't see coming at the end of the movie. And I'm gonna get right into it. So number 5 is, even though I'm not a huge fan of the series overall, but Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, Luke, I Am Your Father, iconic. It's just iconic. Oh my God, Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father the whole time. What a big twist, right? Goes without saying. This next one, number 4 on my list, really got me. I really like this movie. Denzel is one of my favorite actors, although me and my brother debate all the time. He just plays himself in every movie, just a version of himself. My man. You know what? He's not wrong, but I say that some of the best actors are all kind of just playing a version of themselves in every movie, but we can get into that later. But one of his movies that got one of my favorite twists at the end of the movie is the movie Fallen. Right at the beginning of the movie, I think the quote is, "I want to tell you about the time I almost died." So the narrator of the movie, the evil force, the bad guy, I forget who his name was and whatever, what he really was, but you know, he was switching from body to body and everything, and then Denzel came up with this great plan to get him way out to the woods so his soul couldn't go into the next body and actually kill him. And then, you know, right at the end of the movie, he says the same line from the beginning when he was like, "Remember I told you I want to tell you about the time I almost died." Classic. Chef's kiss. Number 3, one of my favorite movies of all the time, believe it or not, starring 2 of the best actors. Ed Norton is one of the greatest actors to me. Speaking of range, like playing different characters, he has a lot of range. I call Ed Norton the Don Cheadle of white actors, because Don Cheadle is probably my all-time favorite actor. His range is out of this world to me too. Those are 2 of my favorite actors. And then Brad Pitt, who dare I say is an underrated actor to me. You know, he's a movie star, and all of the women talk about how handsome he is, but he's actually a really good actor to me. I know that some people don't like him, but he has a lot of range. He can do comedy, he can do drama. He's really good. But Ed Norton, Brad Pitt, Fight Club, come on now, how classic. At the end of the movie, turns out that Tyler Durden was just Ed Norton the whole time. He wasn't real. It was just his projected self. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Keep up with me. But then the Fight Club at the end, you know what? Before I go to number 2 and number 1, not only are these my top 5 movie twists at the end, this is my top 5 list of movies that if you say, "I knew that the whole time," I'm going to call you a effing liar. You didn't know this the whole time. I hear people try to say this now. It's like, "Oh, I knew that Tyler Durden was real. If you really pay attention, you could tell that he wasn't talking to himself when he yelling at the girl in the basement." You know, I'm like, come on, man. You didn't know that. You didn't know that when it happened. These next 2 are classics. Number 2 is The Usual Suspects, man. What was his name? Kerbal Kent, was it, right? And he was actually Kaiser Sose the whole time. He was actually Kaiser Sose the whole time. And then he doing the thing in the office with, you know, he's looking at the stuff and coming up with the names based on the stuff in the office. That was cool. And then, you know, shout out to my guy Jay-Z. Set you up like Sose and set you up like Kaiser and walk straight in the end. He even got rid of the limp at the end. Oh, it's such a classic walk off. And then number 1, all-time best twist of any movie. And if you say you knew this the whole time, I'm calling you a liar. You did not know this while you were watching it. Yes, if you look back now, it seems obvious, but you did not know that in The Sixth Sense, Bruce Willis was dead the entire time. You did not know that. Stop it. You did not know that. Such great performance by the young man. I got to do better at remembering everybody's names, but the young actor too. It was such a great movie, such a great twist. It really did. It really did the genre well, like of these film noirs. But yeah, that's my top 5 twists at the end of every movie, man. Stay with me on this journey. Like I said, man, the next episode, some of these things are going to be through lines, man. Some of these themes are going to repeat themselves. And like I said, man, I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to get this smoothed out so I can start, inviting people and having a dialogue with some of my friends about some of these same topics. And again, I always invite you, like if my top 5 list, what did I miss when I was talking about the real topic of, we treat politics too much like sports. Let me know how you feel about that. If I missed something, if I didn't go, cuss me out in the comments. I'm cool. Give me credit where it's due. Tell me how I can do better. I appreciate all of it. All right, now. 1.